Welcome to a tutorial looking at the BYO curriculum for the assessment generator. The objective here is to create assessment tasks, but also the accompanying marking guides to be able to assess the demonstrated proficiencies by students. Let's have a look at what the automation looked like in context, and then we'll dive into have a look at what the artifact looked like as well. We are looking at the Western Australian curriculum for this example. This is select down here to be able to choose through the Australian curriculum varieties. The stage level year seven, the subject is physical education. And first of all, this is one of our main contextual inputs. We are putting in what are we actually assessing student proficiency? What are we going to get students to demonstrate their competency in? I'm going to ask students for their participation in invasion games, but also their engagement in team planning for tactical approaches within those games. This is a very specific contextual description of what I want students to demonstrate. This is an assessment task that's only going to run over 1 hour, and as it is aptly named, the BYO curriculum, I'm going to add in my own curriculum objectives of how I'm going to align to the curriculum. This is a withdrawal from the 2025 Health and Physical Education Year 7 curriculum. And these are the two items that I would like assessed, and this is how I'm going to do that. Now, the last item for me is how am I going to get students to actually do the assessment? This is where I can add in my own influence on knowing your students and how they learn and what will be best fitting or engaging for them or what they would like to do. Can be done in PowerPoints, oral responses, written responses, and I can add in my constraints here as well. This is a written response between 1 and 200 words, an oral presentation between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, or they need to do other constraints or conditions of assessment as well. For me, this one is they're going to participate in the games, the physical skills demonstration, and their contribution, and the spelling there too, contribution to the tactics. The differentiated option will not change the assessment task that it's created, but this will give you some points of variety after the assessment right down the bottom on how we can consider a student of either additional needs or if they have an impairment at the time where they can't access the ability to demonstrate their proficiencies. This is where that will be considered to be able to give ideas on how to change the assessment to allow them to access it. At the end, you'll get your download link here, which I will do now and bring up the assessment. Having a little bit of a closer look now, our first two items are very clear, and you will get a few things here that I would probably delete as a teacher for a student facing document, but we're going to have a starting point that is quite comprehensive for teachers to be able to not only take ownership of the assessment task, but also make sure that it's contextually relevant to yourself and what you're trying to achieve in this assessment. Our best information we can give students is what are my physical tasks that you are asking me to complete, but also giving the actionable verbs in what we're asking students to be able to do, and moving into the physically listed portion of that. What are we asking you to do as a student? First of all, we're going to get these items here is what in order of what students need to complete. We get our conditions of assessment. These are our constraints of where we're allowed students to work within the bounds, but also the checkpoints of what can students, how we are going to support you through the assessment process. As a teacher, I'd probably delete the authentication strategies as this is supporting me in how I will authenticate and validate the student demonstrated competencies. And catch them out if they haven't actually worked through the assessment task themselves. The glossary is just taking some language from the main section in what's my task and what do I need to do, and ensuring that that language is broken down in something accessible. And this is where we started at the start. We have taken our original curriculum elements, and there are the standards that we are trying. This is language that can change. These are the standards or the syllabus outcomes that I would like assessed. This is super important because we're going to use those as the accessible elements. So you can see here, the AI automation has broken those down into their two different aspects of what is being assessed, and we have broken that down into two accessible elements here. First of all, we have active game participation and tactical skills, and that is going to be assessing this one. The health and wellbeing reflection, this is going to be assessing the second component of the curriculum that we have done. So let's just backtrack a second, and that will help you in understanding how the automation is using the curriculum language in the biggest influence on how the assessment will be designed. We are trying to get the students to demonstrate their proficiencies in these curriculum elements. So, albeit that the assessment task is asking students to participate and demonstrate tactical skills, the reflection portion of that has been built in. There was no mention of that. It's because the curriculum demands it. And that's important to allow teachers to ensure authentic and validated assessment of a well rounded viewpoint on what students are demonstrating of the entire curriculum element. So we have this version here, but also a student version here. What this actually looks like is these are the main teacher versions. This could be used with the students as well. That's completely fine. But the language here is from the curriculum elements that you have given. And then we convert that into some I can statements that support students. And you can see that we have a clear scaffold of those cognitive verbs in A to E format. Right down the bottom, this is where we're going to get our differentiation options to support the general, because I gave no specific examples, and just some general differentiation adjustments to make this assessment more accessible to students. I hope this demonstration and tutorial has been helpful. Say again, as the link, I'll get all the way up. Any ideas or suggestions, click the link down here, and then it'll come to us to make any adjustments and updates to make this as authentic as possible. Thank you.